So let us explore the different scenarios when you need to add or subtract amounts when preparing bank reconciliation statement. So remember our for all the different scenarios which we are discussing now, the starting point will be the cash book. So understanding these adjustments is crucial for accurate financial reporting and successful accounting careers. So let us start with most common timing differences between your cash book balance and bank statement. Transaction number 1, checks deposited but not cleared. Students, when you remember, when you deposit a check, you immediately record it in your cash book, isn't it? So, however, the bank hasn't processed it yet. So, your bank balance appears lower than your cash book balance. So, we need to subtract this amount because the bank hasn't recognized this deposit. So, this is a less item. Transaction number 2, when checks issued but not presented. You have written and recorded a check in your cash book, isn't it? So, reducing your cash book balance first. But if the recipient hasn't cashed it yet, the bank balance remains higher. We have to add this back because the bank hasn't yet reduced your balance. So, let us move to the transaction number 3, bank charges debited in the passbook only. Remember, when the banks deduct service charges, it will be directly debited to your account. Since you haven't recorded this expense in your cash book shows a higher balance. We have to subtract this in order to match the actual bank balance. So the adjustment is less. So moving on to the transaction number 4, interest debited in the passbook only. It is similar to the bank charges. When the interest on loans or overdrafts is deducted from the bank account, your cash book balance does not reflect this reduction. So we have to subtract this because your cash book balance is showing more. We have to subtract. Moving on to the next transaction, payments by bank debited in passbook only. Students, sometimes banks make payments on your behalf, like insurance premiums or EMI installments or loan installments. So these reduces your bank balance first, but it is not recorded in the cash book. So your cash book balance is showing more. We have to subtract them. Moving on to the next transaction, direct payment made by customer in the passbook only. When customers pay directly into your bank account, your bank balance increases, but your cash book doesn't show this receipt, isn't it? So hence the passbook is showing more and cash book is showing less. We have to add the direct deposits made by the customers. Moving on to the next transaction, bills discounted previously and dishonored in the passbook only. So when you discount a bill with the bank, you receive money immediately. However, if the same bill was dishonored, the bank recovers this amount directly from your bank account. So since this recovery isn't appearing in your cash book, it has appeared in the passbook first. So we have to deduct it from the cash book balance because your cash book is showing more as compared to the passbook. So moving on to the next transactions, check deposited but dishonored in passbook only. When a deposited check bounces, the bank reverses the credit. Your cash book is still showing the deposit because the passbook is showing lesser balance and the cash book is showing more balance. We have to subtract the dishonored amount, isn't it? So moving on to the next transaction, undercasting of credit side of the passbook. Students, if the bank has incorrectly totaled the deposits as less than actual, your bank balance appears lower, isn't it? So we have to subtract this difference amount. Here, the casting means the totaling. This term we will be referring in the rectification of errors. Moving on to the next transaction, overcasting of the debit side of the passbook. If the bank has incorrectly totaled the withdrawals as more than actual, we call it as overcasting of the debit side. So your bank balance appears lower in this case. So and we have to subtract this particular transaction from the cash book balance. Moving on to the next transaction, wrong debit in the passbook. If the bank incorrectly debited your account, your balance appears lower than it should be, isn't it? So your cash book balance is showing more than the passbook balance because the banker has incorrectly debited your account. So we have to subtract this from the cash book balance. Moving on to the next transaction, wrong credit in the passbook. If the bank incorrectly credited your account, your balance appears higher, isn't it? So your cash book balance is not showing this particular transaction, hence it is showing lesser. We have to add this to reconcile properly. Do not get confused whether this particular transaction is yours or not. Students, understand BRS is not to rectify the errors. To identify the differences, we need to prepare BRS. So, in order to reconcile this, we have to add to our cash book balance in the BRS statement. Moving on to the next transactions, checks drawn but not issued. As we discussed in earlier transaction number 2, here you have recorded the check in your books without actually giving it to the supplier. Understanding? You have recorded the check in the books, but you haven't given it to the supplier. The bank balance is higher, so we have to add this amount because the moment you draw a check and record in the books of accounts, it will be showing reduced balance in the cash book balance. But however, in the bank balance, it is higher, so we have to add this amount to the cash book balance. Moving on to the transaction number 14, bank charges recorded twice in the cash book. You have accidentally recorded bank charges twice. Your cash book is showing lower balance than it should be. So we have to add back the duplicate entry. Moving on to the transaction 15, amount withdrawn from bank not recorded in the cash book. If you forgot to record a withdrawal, your cash book shows a higher balance than the actual, isn't it? So we have to subtract the unrecorded withdrawal. Moving on to the next transaction, interest dividend collected by bank not recorded in the cash book. Generally, banks collect interest or dividends on your behalf. So this will increase the bank balance first. But your cash book doesn't reflect this. So we have to add these amounts for the cash book balance. Moving on to the next transaction, overcasting of the payment side of cash book. This is the cash book error. So you have totaled the payments incorrectly as more than actual, because of which reason your cash book balance is showing lesser. So we have to add back the overcasting error. Moving on to the next transaction, undercasting of receipt side of cash book. If you have totaled receipts less than the actual, your cash book balance will be showing lower. We have to add this undercasting difference to the cash book balance. Moving on to the next transaction, undercasting of payment side of the cash book. As an accountant, if you have totaled the payments as less than the actual, your cash book balance is showing higher, isn't it? So we have to subtract the undercasting difference. Moving on to the next transaction, overcasting of receipt side of the cash book. As an accountant, if you have totaled the receipts as more than the actual, your cash book balance is higher as compared to the passbook balance. So we have to subtract the overcasting error. Another transaction, deposits recorded twice in the cash book. If you have recorded the same deposit twice, your cash book shows more than the passbook. We have to subtract the duplicate entry, isn't it? And the last transaction, excess amount debited in cash book. If you have recorded a receipts more than the actual amount, your cash book balance is more than it should be. Since we are starting from the cash book, we have to subtract. Remember, when preparing BRS with cash book as a starting point, we are adjusting the cash book balance to match the bank balance. Students, practice these scenarios regularly and you will master BRS preparation. In our continuing session, we will be discussing on these transactions, how it will appear in the BRS with the passbook as a starting point. Thank you.